Don't let your career break dreams turn into a nightmare. Being financially prepared for it goes a long way to making you a confident career breaker. In today's episode, we cover the first step you need to do to become financially prepared for your career break.
Welcome to the Thrive and Guard podcast. I'm Veena. I believe that you can have a career break without breaking the bank or killing your career. I'm here to support you in designing your ideal career break for your sustained career health.
Fun fact, I was an art museum docent. Until today, I still love looking at paintings and art. One thing you notice is that the paintings or canvases are not placed directly on the walls of the galleries. They are usually placed on frames that stretch the canvases and showcase them at their best. Without frames, these canvases by themselves might be quite flimsy. You might be able to paint a beautiful picture of your ideal career break, and the frames that can support it and help it last will be strong finances. Here, I offer to you a few questions that you can ask yourself to see whether you are financially prepared for a career break. 1. How much do you normally spend? 2. What would you like to do during your ideal career break? Is it going to be similar or different from your current lifestyle? Correspondingly, how similar or different do you think your career break expenses are going to be? And 4. How long is your career break going to last? Knowing the answers to this question will help you to determine how much to set aside to save up for that career break that you want to go on. Let's tackle the first question which I offered to you, which was, how much do you normally spend? And you can determine this by using the expense sheet tracker. You can find this template in the Career Breaker Guide, and the link is found in the show notes below. Now, this expense sheet is for you to adapt to your own needs and your particular lifestyle. I think it's more useful to tabulate your figures on an annual rather than a monthly basis. But the general idea is just for you to develop an awareness about your spending patterns in the past. It's really okay if you cannot be exact, but the expense sheet just helps you to be able to get a ballpark figure to estimate how much your current expenses are. If you find yourself feeling a little bit resistant in tabulating how much your current lifestyle costs, then I invite you to be curious as to why. Might it be because you have a negative association with money? And if so, I have a previous episode which you can listen to that helps you to develop a more positive emotion when it comes to money. I shared the metaphor of your money as your fans, that you need to gather together into a stadium so you can look at all of them. Just like after a performance, your fans will eventually leave the stadium. And so, this expense sheet tabulation is just a way of gathering all your money and then acknowledging them for being spent getting you the life that you desire, and then wishing them well as they exit your life. Then trust that more money will come in. You can check out the episode, or you can develop your own metaphor so that you will face a lot less resistance to tabulating how much your expenses are for your current lifestyle.
Let me share an example of a completed expense tracker sheet. For some people, this process takes hours. For some, it takes weeks or even longer. If you're doing this for the first time, release expectations around how fast it should be completed or how precise it should be. Done is better than perfect. If you're listening to this on audio, I would really recommend that you head over to YouTube because I'll be explaining the figures and you can see it visually there. Alright, here's the profile for our hypothetical example, Anna. She's a debt-free single female who has been working for around 5 years since leaving school. She stays with her parents, so while she doesn't have household expenses, she gives her parents an allowance of $1,000 per month. In terms of food, she eats out especially for workday lunches when she works from the office. She helps to chip in for household groceries. She's relatively healthy, so while she has insurance premiums to pay for, her medical expenses are quite low. She mostly takes public transport, but occasionally when she's late, she will take a private hire vehicle for transport. She takes 1 or 2 short trips a year to a neighboring country because traveling is her main hobby. Tallying up her expenses, we can round up her annual expenses at $30,000 a year for her current lifestyle. After working for 5 years, she's looking to experience a change in tempo. Later on in this video, we'll see how this will affect her career break financial preparation. But for now though, I want to turn the attention back to you.
We move on to the second question. What would you like to do during your ideal career break? Is that going to be similar or different than your current lifestyle now? Let's chat. When was the last time that somebody even asked you, what is it that you wanted for your life? And if that has never happened, then it's time to ask that question for yourself. What do you deeply desire for? And what kind of experience would you love to have for yourself? Giving ourselves permission to dream wholeheartedly, it's not easy. Especially if you're a female like me, brought up in an Asian society where you are badgered with societal norms, cultural standards and expectations, and trained to conform. But these whispers of your deepest desires matter. They're the guiding lights to bring you towards a life that is authentic to what you want. They give focus and direction towards a life that you look forward to waking up to. For me, my dream is to thrive living the slow life even in a fast-paced world. Never mind what other people say about your dreams. What's important is, can you visualize your dream life? And how can your career break be a reflection of that? Take the time to paint a vivid picture of what your career break would look like.
Now let's turn our attention back to Anna. She desires to take a 1-year career break. She wants to experience something different other than the short jaunts that she's been doing, and wants to take a 5-month trip across all the countries in Southeast Asia. She also hopes to make a career pivot and is looking to embark on a 3-month advanced professional certification. How will this affect her expenses? How much does she have to set aside financially? This brings us to the next question.
Next, we will marry the picture together with numbers so that it is something that can be materialized. 3. Do you anticipate your career break expenses to be different or similar? We already use the expense sheet to tabulate how much our current lifestyle costs. You can also use the expense sheet to tabulate how much your career break is going to cost you. This is so useful because then you know how much to set aside for your career break, especially if you have some runway before that happens. You can use your current lifestyle expenses as a baseline. Then depending on whether your career break is going to be similar or different from your current lifestyle, you can adjust the expenses upwards or downwards. If you're going to be traveling during the career break, then your expenses under the hobbies category is likely going to increase. But since you're not going to be home, then the expenses for the category of home renovations and improvements are going to be well near zero. Or perhaps you're taking a career break to care for a loved one. In this case, you probably would have to increase the category under groceries because you're allocating more of your expenses to things like nutritional supplements, meal delivery plans, or even special dietary needs. You can also pay attention to the 3 different categories, which is minimalist, moderate, and maximalist. It's worth knowing what is the minimal amount that you can spend on your career break without feeling deprivation. Maximalist is the other end of the scale, where it's a dream, no holds barred kind of career break, and moderate falls somewhere in between.
Let's see how Anna estimates her career break expenses. Recall that she wants to travel more, and she estimates her travel expenses consisting of transport, activities, lodging, and other miscellaneous items to cost an additional $19,000 for the next 5 months that she'll be traveling. Now this will fall under the hobbies line item. The course that she wanted to embark on costs $5,000. This will fall under the self-improvement line item. So in total, Anna will need to spend an additional $24,000 during her career break as compared to her normal lifestyle expenses. But because she'll be away from her home country for 5 months, some of her expenses will fall or be unchanged. Expenses that will fall includes the line item under categories such as food and local transportation. As she doesn't think she'll be working for a year, the income taxes are zeroed out, although she will need to set aside money for paying the previous year's income tax. Some categories she kept unchanged, such as her parents' allowance and insurance premiums. So as we can see from the changes, she will need to set aside $50,000 rounded up for her career break year. This brings us to the next question.
4. How long is your career break? In step 3, you already have a ballpark figure for how much your career break is going to cost. Now add in a buffer. Perhaps you have tallied up the expenses that you will incur during your career break, doing all those different activities at perhaps $50,000 a year. To be on the safe side, add in a contingency buffer based on how long you think it takes to find you a job in that particular industry. For example, if I know that it takes me 6 months to find a job in the education industry, then I'll add in to that $50,000 another 6 months worth of living expenses. How about if you want to finance a perpetual career break so that you're not pressured to find another job before you're ready? There is so much that I will go deeper into in future episodes, but today I'll just cover the bare basics.
While there are many different strategies to do this, I personally followed a framework based on the 4% rule derived from research popularly known as the Trinity study. The 4% rule is a guideline for determining how much money you can safely withdraw from your asset-based nest egg each year, with a high likelihood that your savings will last 30 years.
A good rule of thumb to be able to support a perpetual career break is to be able to have in your nest egg 25 times your annual expenses. For example, if your living expenses are $30,000 a year, then $30,000 times 25 will be $750,000 in assets such as stocks and bonds.
But don't be put off by the numbers, because more than likely you are not aiming for a 30-year career break.
There is still so much to unpack here, but I do hope that this short taster will give you an idea about how to financially prepare for a career break. I've enjoyed every single one of the career breaks that I've been on, but there is one big obstacle that we have to overcome when we're on a career break. I'll share what that is in next week's episode, so Have a beautiful week and join me then. Hey, thanks for staying till the end. If you know of someone who's also contemplating a career break, do share this podcast with them. Subscribe, leave a rating or a review so that more people can find this podcast to help them to design a career break that they would love. Always rooting for you.